Today we're going to examine Avatar by James Cameron and Star Wars Ep2, Attack of the Clones by George Lucas. Why in the world am I comparing these two? Actually, I have to thank YouTuber RM Lohner for this idea. He actually was talking about special effects do not equal a good story, or special effects should not be the reason that you're going to see a film. And I completely agree. However, I liked Avatar. I did not like Star Wars Episodes 1, 2, or 3. But Episode 2 actually has more special effects in it. And you could actually say has a story, whereas Episode 1 doesn't, and Episode 3 is such a mess that I can't even begin to talk about it. So let's compare these two movies, shall we? Avatar has a clear defined protagonist, villain, and society of weird, strange creatures. You get to know these strange creatures through the protagonist's eye. You become sympathetic with them, and you become, like him, part of them. I guess the protagonist in Star Wars Episode 2 is supposed to be Anakin, but Anakin, I don't like him. I mean, even as an anti-hero, he just doesn't work. I don't know. Maybe the protagonist is supposed to be Obi-Wan or Yoda. Maybe it's that girl in the background that has no personality. I don't know. It starts with these clone facilities that nobody seems to know about, and then, I don't know. And it's like, oh, this clone army. I mean, just why? I mean, what's going on? Explain it. I need like a diagram to explain what's going on in this movie. I'm so confused. I think Avatar uses clever special effects. They're in your face, but not annoyingly so. Compared to, say, maybe Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, where things are flying in your face for no other reason than things flying in your face, or Monster vs. Aliens, where they deliberately do the whole guy is bouncing a ball towards the screen thing. Oh, it's 3D. Oh, it's coming at me. Oh, wow. Avatar actually uses the special effects in a very clever way. They're there, they're present, but they're not necessary to watch the entire film. You could take off your glasses and still enjoy this film, even flat. The 3D effects are just kind of cool. It's neat to see the use. One of my favorite scenes is actually the screens that the military has. Those screens seem rounded, like you could reach out and touch them, and occasionally I was like going like, I can grab it, I can touch it, you know. For the other part, once you're into the movie, the special effects are always there, but they're not shoved at your face all up in your grill. Star Wars Episode 2 tries to cram everything that they can on the screen at the same time, so you don't even know what the bleep to look at all. What am I looking at? So many things. That's a big problem. Cramming a lot of stuff on the screen just doesn't work. Avatar's storyline is simple, sure. And is it a borrowed story? Yeah. Is all that forgivable? Yes, I think so. Some stories are simple and easy to tell, almost universal. You'll get similar stories even across cultures. These are stories that we tell each other, tell our kids, and they're universal in understanding. It's something we can all come to grips with. The lower guys beat the bigger, badder guys. That's an idea that we all hope for, and it's a story that we all like to hear. The losers become the winners, the weak become the strong, etc. It's a simple story, sure, but it's a story worth repeating. Star Wars Episode 2 story requires like a team of scientists to understand what's going on. And I'm not saying that in a good way. I'm saying that there's no way that this plot makes sense at all. I don't care how many books or comics or video games you played, read, or looked at. This storyline is so convoluted. So basically, there's a clone army that's made by the bad guys that the good guys, even with all their magical powers, know nothing about, and then the good guys suspect that it's a plot, but use the army anyways. These are the stupidest good guys with magical powers ever. Now, look, yeah, sure, I summed up the plot, but summing up the plot doesn't make the plot any less convoluted or complex or hard to understand, and not in a good way. The thing is, this storyline is so messed up, there's just no saving it. You have to piece it together from puzzles like archaeology, and you need mathematicians to help, and a team of forensic experts, and a whole bunch of Star Wars geeks to explain it to you over and over again till you're like, oh wait, I think I kinda understand it. So you mean all the Jedi are idiots and the clone army is out to get them, but they use it anyways? No, of course the Jedi are idiots. Okay, so why did they use the clone army? Because they need an army. Why did they... never mind. Anyways, my point is, this story sucks. I have no confusion or reservations over Avatar's outstanding success. Yes, the storyline is simple and basic and pure. Yes, the special effects are mind-blowingly awesome, and probably a couple years from now we're gonna look back and be like, Avatar. Yeah, whatever. Boring. But my point is, I agree. Special effects plus bad story do not make good movie. However, special effects plus a story we're familiar with equals a movie that we might actually say is outstanding. Special effects plus bad story plus characters we don't care about equals movie that deserves to be shucked into the sun for all time, so that we never ever have to watch it again. Ever. But some people really like Star Wars Episode 2, Episode 1, and Episode 3. And hey, I can't fault people for liking stuff. I mean, everybody likes stuff. There's all sorts of stuff that people like that make no logical sense for anybody to like. Some people like to get piercings through their nose. I think that's kind of painful, but, okay, if that's what you like, sure. Some people like to get tattoos all over their body. Hey, that's art, and it's expressive, but it's probably painful. I'm sure there's somebody that actually enjoys going to the dentist. I'd rather go to the dentist than watch this movie. At least there I'd actually look at maybe some art on the walls that I could pretend is more interesting than this. Oh man. Just why? Why were you so bad, Star Wars prequels? Why? Original story writing will always win out over any special effects in the end. Even if your writing is borrowed writing, if it's good enough, people will like it. I'll take the original Star Wars as an example. Actually, that would have been a much more fair comparison to make with Avatar than Episode 2 is. The original Star Wars is also a borrowed story from earlier films like Flash Gordon or adventure sequels like that. Indiana Jones 2 borrowed a lot from movies back in the day. Both cases, the delay between them was so great that the general audience wouldn't know that they were actually copied stories. Avatar is not in that category. We all know and remember Dances with Wolves. And seeing Avatar, we're like, oh yeah, I remember Dances with Wolves. But this is so much cooler! And that's my point. Star Wars, with its good special effects, made a story that we were all familiar with a classic. I think Avatar sits rightfully in its place in the best picture for now. Maybe something better will come along. Maybe original writing will in the end blow it away. But one thing is for certain. Avatar does far better at doing what it needs to do than any of the Star Wars prequels could ever hope to do. Peace out.